would you rather go to a Diddy party or Epstein's Island?
Half the morning I go to one, and the rest of the half of the day I go to the other.
Taking a private jet to the island first?
Whatever jet comes, I don't care. Private or not, I'm hopping on it. Trump might be on one of them.
How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
At this point, I am totally convinced that the Epstein files is the distraction, and you do not have to agree with me. This morning, the Democratic House Oversight Committee released 95,000 images of the Epstein estate, and guess who was in them? Your boy Donald Trump, and Bill Clinton, and Bill Gates, and Steve Bannon, and Woody Allen, and Richard Brunson, amongst a couple other people, right? Let me just say this. Association does not make you guilty. Let's start there. And the simple fact that y'all keep giving us these Epstein files like it's a drip campaign is absolutely diabolical to me. It's either y'all going to give it to us or y'all going to keep them. Tell us something we don't know.
All a part of this Epstein file. Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls.
What do you think about Jeffrey
Epstein? Was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail.
We got a bombshell to unpack tonight, and trust me, this one isn't small. The newest release of the Epstein files didn't just raise eyebrows, it sent shockwaves through the entire industry. And buried deep inside those pages, one name stood out like a siren in the dark. Jay-Z.
Now let's say it's true. They trying to say that Jay left the country, man. Do you think that's his best option at this point if he is in some trouble?
Jeffrey Epstein is a spy. He's a spy. He's an agent. That's the same thing Russell Simmons did.
Man, you think the NFL gonna quit fucking with Jay-Z?
Absolutely. Man? Russell Simmons is a fucking demon, bro. He is a New York sissy.
Hey, but now we have a situation like this where sick ass white men, white women, whatever, are on the island doing shit to little children, other white children at that. Why aren't white men held accountable? Why isn't the actions of these few people on this island responsible for the whole race? Because when it's flipped around, that's how it's done for black people. And it's just so funny because when I point these things out, folks call me racist. They say I'm this, they say I'm that, but I just do the same thing they do. You know the crazy thing, bro? All of this is going to get swept under the rug. In a few months, everyone's gonna forget about this. Black person's gonna do something stupid and it's gonna stand for the whole race, and black fatigue gonna be trending again. I'm telling you, the same thing.
To the article on this page and wrote the caption, I know I'm late on this, but this is kind of crazy. What do you do to get thrown into that mix? And he posted a picture of Jay-Z and wrote the caption, damn, they got my man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this.
Bill Gates is a freak bitch. But Bill Gates is a white version of a freak bitch.
Tell us something we don't know, like who names are not on the files, who paid to get their names off the files. Let's have this conversation, because at this point, for it to have been 95,000 images that was released and you only released 10 to 15 of them, that does not sit right with me. I'm going to just say this. Y'all can keep falling for this shit if y'all want to, but like I said before, the Epstein files is the fucking distraction.
It's more of a class thing now. Oh, we need to do something about the rich. Oh, we need to do something about the elites. No, we need to do something about white men.
Com in Hamilton Park, Dallas, Fort Worth. Welcome back to another edition of Rubber Buggy Baby Boomer Radio, the bangingest thing on your urban internet radio dial. Yeah, white men always been the problem, fam. You already know that. 400, 500, 600 years. I mean, however many lion years they tell us, they've always been the problem. Except they've done this like they said. How does the devil, how do they say that? The devil makes you believe that he doesn't exist. Okay? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But yeah, white men been the problem. They want you to believe that it is black folk that is causing all of the havoc. We're about to get into Jay-Z and Epstein. That's been banging around. A lot of people have been delving into that. But real quick, before we get started, my homage to beautiful Dallas, Fort Worth. We're going to take a real quick look at the unspoken rivalry between Fort Worth and Dallas, DFW, or North Texas, as we call it down here. The talent disparity, urgency, and aggressive driving that's done in Dallas compared to Fort Worth, or so they say. Okay, now it's a 30-mile stretch, I-30, from downtown to downtown. Takes you about 35 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on traffic, to get to Fort Worth. Now, the rest of the world just calls it Dallas-Fort Worth. They just lump them together. The locals know that crossing the Tarrant-Dallas County line is like entering a different country. It sure the hell is. I was a limo driver for several years, and whenever you went to Fort Worth, there were no street signs. You just driving the hell around. This was using maps, though. We didn't even have GPS at the time. But yeah, the Big D Showdown. Now, the thing is, Dallas is called the Big D, and Fort Worth is called Cowtown. Now, one, who has the vibe? Who's got the swagger versus the soul? They say with Dallas, it's all about the Big D energy. Fort Worth, known as Funky Town here, is the place where a billionaire and a ranch hand can sit at the same bar and nobody cares. The hustle, urgency versus heritage. They say Dallas is like a sprint. They wanted everything done yesterday. Fort Worth is like running a marathon. There's a come as you are mentality. All right. So they say this is where the West begins. The other is where the East peters out. That would be Dallas. All right. So let's see why Fort Worth thinks Dallas is all hat and no cattle. If you know, you know. And why Dallas doesn't even realize that there's a rivalry. Here's a real quick breakdown.
Where you from?
I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. Not Dallas, Fort Worth.
She was very intimidating. She also looked like she's still.
And if he send me home, we're going to have to fight, no cap.
Oh my God.
Did she tell you that?
Let me out.
Should I move to Dallas or move to Fort Worth, baby? Dallas has city life, land and country, amazing jobs, beautiful houses, and a quick commute. Amazing jobs, quick commute, and ranches. Mansions, beautiful mansions. Ranch house mansions. One of the most prestigious universities in the entire country, SMU. College football national champion, runner-up, TCU.
Funky Town, Fort Worth. Y'all skyline could never, and I mean never, could never compete or compare the beautiful Dallas, Texas. What the business is. Oh, Lulu, we're going to leave that out.
Yeah, phenomenal freaking skyline here in Dallas, man. Beautiful skyline. So, yeah, they got Fort Worth there. But, yeah, Fort Worth ain't got no damn street signs. But over in Fort Worth, they say the beef is because Dallas thinks they're better than us. Like you heard the guy say, Fort Worth got talent. Been having it, but now what I heard back in the Gap, cats was in the rap game. They say Dallas niggas don't help each other in the game. That's why other places like Houston and Louisiana and whatnot, that's why they blow up, because these cats don't help each other. That's what cats from here told me that was in the rap game. Down there in Houston, Master P and them, Dr. Dre, all them folk work together. They say in Dallas, them niggas want to shine for themselves. So here's the verdict, they say. If you want to conquer the world by 5 p.m., Dallas is your playground. If you want to enjoy the world after a hard day's work, Fort Worth is your home. Dallas, Fort Worth, cast your votes in the comments, baby. Who best? Folk don't know about your rivalry down here, but who is the best? The viral photo claiming that Jeffrey Epstein was spotted alive in Tel Aviv has been debunked as AI generated. You see the video here. They say fact checks found no credible source, and the image shows clear AI signs like distorted autonomy, fake text, and visual glitches, plus reports of a watermark. So where's he at? Where Elvis, Michael, and Tupac is? Someone let me know. Now, yeah, while the internet is buzzing with headlines, it's important to separate the social media trolling from official production news. Now, here's a breakdown of the 50 Cent versus Jay-Z situation and the truth behind the travel rumors. Did Jay-Z bail out of town, fam? Now, you know, Cat Williams predicted a whole lot of this on the Shannon Sharp show. Now, 50's putting out a documentary. You know, he released a docuseries titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning, which debuted on Netflix in December of 2025, focusing on the legal downfall of Diddy. However, regarding Jay-Z, 50 Cent has not officially announced a standalone Epstein-focused documentary as of yet. Instead, he's just been relentlessly trolling Jay-Z on Instagram. You know how 50 get down. 50 say he got to make a doc. Tell that nigga said they got you, fam. Oh, yeah. This episode dives deep into power, perception, celebrity hypocrisy, and uncomfortable truths most platforms won't touch, man. We're going to take you there until they tell us to stop. You understand? But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to Push Gap Radio's Dallas for raw conversations on hip hop, street politics, Dallas, Fort Worth, any and everything. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. PushGapRadios.com. Roll tape.
And yeah, my next documentary is going to be on Harv. I've been telling y'all that mother has been up to some diabolical, and now y'all going to get it on tape.
So Jay-Z's name popped up in the Epstein files, and boom, 50 Cent is already on Instagram announcing a whole documentary. No teaser, no waiting, just straight smoke. And now Jay-Z's legal team is allegedly threatening lawsuits, while 50 is daring them to try it. Y'all, this escalated fast, because this isn't just gossip. This is Epstein, sealed documents, powerful names, and some extremely ugly accusations that people have been whispering about for years. And if there's one person who lives for pulling old skeletons into the spotlight, it's 50 Cent, especially when it involves someone he already doesn't like. So what exactly do these documents say? Why are insiders panicking? Why does this feel way bigger than just Jay-Z? Buckle up, because this rabbit hole gets dark, messy, and real uncomfortable real quick. Let's be for real. The moment we saw that Jay-Z's name popped up in those files, we already knew for sure that 50 Cent would be all over it. If Jay-Z has no haters, then y'all better believe that 50 Cent has left his world. And of course he didn't disappoint, because he immediately jumped onto social media and announced that he was already working on a documentary. That he made a post on Instagram that said, "Damn, they got you, man. Jay and the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this ish." And if there is one thing that we have learned about 50 Cent so far, it's that when he says he's gonna make a documentary, you better believe he's gonna do exactly just that. So what did the document say about Jay-Z, and how does it tie to the rumors that have been going on? Well, it all started with the release of a new batch of Epstein files that we all saw a lot of celebs get named in, including Jay-Z. According to the documents, he was kind of linked to Harvey Weinstein, or at least they used to hang out at one point where Jay-Z allegedly saw Harvey do some really shady things to some young and never really batted an eye. But we're not going to get into that. Now, don't get me wrong, Jay-Z is very powerful, and we all know this, but we're talking about some insanely powerful people. We're talking presidents, royalty, and all of that, allegedly. And from what insiders are saying, these powerful people are already making plans to throw some of the lesser powerful people like Jay-Z under the bus to take attention and spotlight away from themselves. It's a dog-eat-dog world out here, and things are about to get really nasty.
Yeah, folks say Jay-Z boarded a plane and got out of town. Fled the U.S., they say. Did Jay-Z leave the country? Rumor has it that Jay-Z fled the U.S. to an undisclosed location, like Russell Simmons' ass, okay? Or even to join Diddy in some imaginary exile is false. Where you going to join Diddy at? In the pokey? Maybe they meant to say Russell Simmons. Now, the source of this, the rumor originated from a known parody account on X, formerly Twitter, called Hoops Crave. The post went viral, garnering over 16 million views, and was quickly picked up by gossip blogs and TikTokers. The reality is, there is no credible evidence or official report suggesting that Jay-Z has left the country. In fact, as of February 2026, his company Roc Nation is still actively preparing for the Super Bowl. That's going on today. Bad Bunny's the halftime show. I'm sure I won't be watching. I don't know a damn thing about Bad Bunny, but the bottom line is, Jay-Z's name appeared in the 2026 document release via an anonymous, unverified tip from 2019. They go back to get you, Cosby, Diddy. Yeah, they say his name appeared on some documents, but not in Epstein's personal flight logs or contact books. 50's capitalizing on the chaos for engagement. You already know how he gets down. But Jay-Z remains stateside and business as usual for the Super Bowl. Now, here are 5 other people that they say disappeared, including Jay-Z, after the Epstein list was released. Check them out. Roll tape.
5 celebrities who fled America. They disappeared just hours after the Epstein list topped the rankings. Number 1, Prince Andrew. He was mentioned 70 times on the list and is actually unable to enter the United States. Currently, he has locked himself in his UK estate. Although the FBI is eager to speak with him, he refuses to leave royal protection, hiding in the palace to evade handcuffs. Number 2, Leonardo DiCaprio. He appeared in Epstein's social list and party records and is accused of having personal dealings. He is facing the risk of losing all Hollywood resources, his environmental charity image, and high-end endorsement contracts. His image in ongoing film and television projects will be reshaped, and he even faces public pressure for all awards, including the Oscar, to be revoked. Number 3, Jay-Z. In these documents, an anonymous victim claims she was kidnapped in 1996 and woke up to find both him and Weinstein present. This statement has been archived and recorded by the FBI. He may lose all music collaborations, brand endorsements, and commercial interests in the United States. His decades-long status in the industry will collapse, and he faces the risk of massive compensation and judicial investigation. Number 4, Oprah. When the documents were released, the talk show queen immediately went silent and closed her Instagram comments to block millions of fans from asking questions. There are rumors that she is preparing her private jet for an immediate departure. Number 5, Bill Gates. According to reports, his divorce was caused by meetings with Epstein. When the new documents were released, Gates disappeared. No interviews, no public appearances. Silence is his best defense lawyer.
Now, was Jay-Z aware of what was going on with Epstein? People say he was there. A lot of people applauding the fact that Barack Obama was not on the books. They said they'd have tore that apart. They wouldn't even say shit about the white boys. It'd have been all about Barack and Michelle. But based on the investigation records and the final trench of Epstein files released by the Department of Justice in late January 2026, there's no verified evidence that Jay-Z was aware of or involved in the activities on Epstein's island. While social media rumors have been widespread, judicial reviews of Epstein's official flight manifest, the Lolita Express, if you've ever read the book Lolita, nigga, ooh-wee, man. But yeah, the manifest don't show that Sean Carter was a passenger to the Little St. James or any other international residences. Yeah, his name just appeared in some shit. You know, your name got to show up. They catch a picture of you, nigga. It's over with. Consequently, there is no factual basis at this time to suggest that Jay-Z had any insight into Epstein's operations. Take.
Let's dive right into it, bro. So 3 million documents from the Jeffrey Epstein file, along with 2,000 videos and roughly 180,000 images was recently released, man. A victim claimed she was drugged and abused and allegedly woke up in a room with Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein. And then she said Pusha T was her handler, man. Why do you think Jay-Z was running with Harvey Weinstein back in those days, bro?
Well, there's no visual evidence that, or there's no real evidence that he was running, because back in '96, Jay-Z was at the beginning of his career. So, and Harvey Weinstein was running with millionaires and billionaires at that specific point in time. So when it comes down to that, we know that he grew a relationship with him later as he became more and more popular as a rapper. As it relates to, you know, why he's in the... Hey, listen, you in the Epstein files because you was in Epstein's life. It's as simple as that. You played some role in his life, whether it was good or bad. And I'm not saying that everybody he came in contact with was involved with the same debauchery that he was involved with. Right. But just like we now know that the things that Puffy was doing, that Diddy was doing, it wasn't a secret to the people who were in the entertainment business. It wasn't a secret. What Epstein had going, it wasn't a secret to people in the world of entertainment or in the world of politics. They knew what it was he had going on. And there were rumors that would have been loud enough 10, 15 years ago for a person like Jay-Z to have heard it.
Now, investigations in the massive Epstein files released in January of 2026 have confirmed that children and underage minors were frequently present on Little St. James. Survivors testified that Epstein operated a systemic network of sexual exploitation on the island, with some victims as young as 14. Now, beyond the well-documented exploitation of minors, the 2026 document release introduced new unverified allegations regarding children actually living on or being born into the environment. There are trafficking allegations, secret child rumors. There was a diary entry from a former victim alleged that she gave birth to a baby on the island back in 2002, which was then taken from her. Wow. Furthermore, a 2011 email from Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York over there, was hanging out with Princess Diana. She congratulated Epstein on a baby boy, though it's unclear if this refers to his own biological child or a different personal matter. Man, you know how these folk get in, man. A lot of physical evidence they say they found over there. Real freaky. You think they had kids over there? You think they didn't? Vote yes or no in the comments. Voice your opinion. Rotate.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something about the Epstein files that a lot of y'all are not going to like. The only reason that the Epstein files has the power to topple the world is because a lot of y'all genuinely believed that the elite would never treat white people the way that white people collectively treated black people during slavery. Slavery wasn't black people being forced to work a job they didn't care about. It was people being forced to work until their muscles would fall off of their bones. Black people would be tortured for just funsies. They'd be medically experimented on with no kind of anesthesia. You know how throughout the South, even today, it seems like every other pastor and peepaw is touching on kids? Well, that is a cultural stay from when white people used to own black children. Do y'all honestly think that a master is going to wait until a slave turned 18 in order to assault them? It's better to break them in when they're young. But
Epstein was a wild boy, man. We're going to get into him and Diddy later on in the show. Would you rather go to an Epstein party or would you rather go to a Diddy party? Hold on. We're going to get there. We're going to get to that on the other side, fam. Which party would you go to? Analysis of the 2026 document releases and expert commentary indicates that Epstein's predatory behavior was fueled by a desire to exercise power over the very demographic, specifically middle to upper class white minors, that society typically views as the most protected. It don't mean nothing if they do it to a black kid. It means dominance and power if they can do it to someone white. Think about it. If black people wasn't here, what would white people do? They would resort back to the same shit they was doing before they found us, fighting each other. It's a power thing. But this sense of power was not just about the acts themselves, but about the social daring involved. Profilers suggest that for a predator obsessed with elite status, getting away with crimes against a demographic that usually commands the most legal and social resources served as ultimate proof of his invincibility. Transformed his crimes into a dark display of leverage. Sick puppy mind. He had the ability to corrupt or bypass the traditional safety nets of white affluent society, provided a more intense psychological high for him. He was more in control. He'd rather do it to them than to be preying on marginalized groups like black folks, who tragically were already often ignored by the system. It's sick. The problem is white boys. Rotate.
For the past couple of months, white people are being forced to wake up to the obvious truth that there is no kind of solidarity or allegiance of whiteness across class lines. It's always been all of us are cattle to them. Like that's it. But all of this is why I wasn't surprised at all when in the new batch of files that were just released, there was like an email or something where somebody said that they didn't want any of the children they were planning on doing things with to be black because, duh, any white person could violate a black person and get away with it. That's just the way the world is. But to do all of the things that we did to black people onto other white people, that's power. Brutalizing black people just doesn't really fuel the ego for them in the way that hurting white people does. These people aren't in some way attracted to their victims. That's never the case with sexual assault. These people get off on the kind of power and rush they feel, the thrill of having violated something of value and then being able to get away with it. It's the same way that a lot of men will sexually harass or batter women doing notably better than them. It fuels their ego, like being able to violate her and get away with it. This has always been going on. We have always known that this has always been going on. The problem is, you didn't think that you would be in this position whenever push came to shove. You thought it was just gonna be the black people.
Hey man, y'all gotta do a deep dive into the files, bro. It gets so wicked. Anytime I really talk about stuff of that nature, YouTube or age restrict my videos, so I ain't really gonna go too deep on it. There's plenty of videos. I think my dog Don did a video going through the Epstein files, so y'all can check that out. But man, it was wicked in there, bro. And like I said,
now is Epstein dead, mine, or now did Epstein unalive himself, or is it all just a hoax? Is he in the same place with Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and Tupac? Public skepticism regarding Jeffrey Epstein's death remains incredibly high. No one believes he done it. They believe he was taken out. If you're from Dallas, Fort Worth, you remember the black kid that was shooting at the police some years ago, downtown Dallas? Sent that robot in to get him? How come these people never have a funeral? If Epstein was all that, where was his damn funeral? Same thing with the kid here. What was his funeral? I think a lot of the things they be running past us is bullshit. But yeah, there's a lot of skepticism regarding Epstein's death, man. A lot of folks say that Epstein was murdered by powerful figures to prevent him from testifying or releasing blackmail material. This theory is fueled by the perfect storm of failures at the Manhattan jail, including malfunctioning security cameras, guards sleeping on duty, and later falsifying records, man. You know how it go down. They can get you when they want you. They like AT&T, nigga, they'll reach out and touch you. Yeah, that's the targeted theory, the hiding theory. A smaller but vocal segment of the public believes Epstein is still alive, suggesting he is extracted from jail via a body double swap. See the picture right here. You believe he's gone. They say this theory was later debunked. Say it showed him over there in Israel, Tel Aviv to be exact.
Well, look, man, you know, they currently investigating Jeffrey Epstein's death. Do you think it was staged, or do you think he really just hung himself?
When you say staged, you mean, do I think that somebody killed him and it made it look like he hung himself? Like it was a suicide?
Nah, like...
Or do you think he's still alive?
Like he's still alive, like he orchestrated the whole thing.
It's possible. I absolutely believe it's possible, because when you look at the degree of sexual impropriety, when you look at the amount and the level of devilish shit that was going on, and then when you couple that with the people who were alleged to be a part of that shit reaches the highest. So listen, what they said was happening with Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, who are both presidents, who both have secrets to sell. Jeffrey Epstein, he definitely, most certainly, recorded the parties at his house, just like Diddy recorded the parties that he had.
It's kind of similar stories, right?
It's the same level of freak ass shit. It's the same level of demon time ass shit. They're all fucking devils.
A new analysis of surveillance video by CBS News shows a partial view of what may be someone possibly headed up to Epstein's cell tier the night he died. Notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell in the early morning of August 10, 2019, inside this since-shuttered federal prison in Manhattan. And this was the vow of then Attorney General Bill Barr.
We will get to the bottom of what happened, and there will be accountability.
Epstein's death was quickly ruled a suicide, but a technical failure that left only one working camera near his cell that night has created conspiracy theories about what happened leading up to his death. At the time, the Attorney General said no one entered Epstein's housing tier the night of his death. But there's been scrutiny of a particular moment on the cell block surveillance footage where an orange-looking flash could be seen at 10:39 p.m. A report from the Justice Department Inspector General notes the flash, quote, "It is possible someone is carrying inmate linen or bedding up the stairs." A separate CBS News investigation last year also cast doubt on how the prison preserved the crime scene and why Jeffrey Epstein's body and some object were moved before the FBI arrived. This does not change the assessment Epstein died by suicide, but these new details raise further questions about the thoroughness, Vlad, of that original investigation.
Now, despite the persistent Epstein didn't kill himself sentiment, the official status remains unchanged. The New York City Medical Examiner and multiple DOJ investigations, the most recent concluded in 2025, have maintained the cause of death was suicide. I don't know. They can't find the smoking gun, they say. Was it evidence of a hit or a fake death that many were looking for? Take.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, check this out, man. Staying on the subject of the Epstein files, man. This crazy. I couldn't wait to ask you about this one.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they say your boy Bill Gates went over there, man, caught an STD from a Russian woman and tried to hide it from his wife. You know what I'm saying? Bill said Jeff sent the email to himself, and it's false. But what do you think happened with that?
Hey, listen. So there's a thing in law, right? In legalese called contemporaneous notes. So a contemporaneous note is something that is admissible in court because you made a note about whatever was happening at the time it was happening. It's not like Jeffrey Epstein sent an email to himself 4 or 5 years later when he fell out with. No, he sent the email in real time when it was actually happening. So even in the court of law, they look at stuff like that as if it's evidence, and evidence can be used. Bill Gates is a freak bitch. But Bill Gates is a white version of a freak bitch. All of them motherfuckers.
Yeah, contemporaneous notes. In legal talk, contemporaneous notes are records written at the time of an event or as soon as humanly possible afterward while the details are still fresh. Like you have an accident at work. I write that shit down. See, a lot of lawyers often use these notes to allow a witness to refresh their memory on the stand. Now, the latest thing with the Epstein files, mine, has brought forward some of the most scandalous, unverified claims, like Bill Gates over there, mine. They call Pee Wee Herman in the adult theater. So rubbing one out, you understand? Pee Wee Herman was at the party, but didn't nobody shake his hand. Okay. Bill Gates over here, mine. Yeah. Billy G had a drippy dick. He had to get Epstein. Was trying to get Epstein to get him some meds, you understand? It's sad. They freaks. Yeah, the Bill Gates, Epstein, and the STD email that's been popping lately. The controversy stems from a series of draft emails Jeffrey Epstein wrote to himself in July of 2013. In these drafts, Epstein portrays himself as an advisor or fixer for Gates. They say he used to be a school teacher at a high-end place, Epstein here, and he made his money. His two biggest clients paid him like combined $45 million to do their retirement and finances. He's not a lawyer or an accountant or anything like that. Just a guy who knew how to get you your predilections, you understand? Now, the allegations with Bill Gates is Epstein claimed that Gates had contracted a sexually transmitted disease following encounters with Russian girls during a visit to Epstein's private island. I was invited, but I couldn't go. You know, had things I had to attend to. Okay. But they did send me photos, but don't tell the Fed. Yeah, those are the allegations. Billy Gates, mine, had a drippy dick. The secret medication that he emailed him about. The emails alleged that Gates, in a panic, asked Epstein to help him obtain antibiotics surreptitiously so he could take them and potentially get them to his then wife, Melinda, without her knowing. Come on, man. Ain't that illegal? Don't matter when you got Luke, though. You already raping babies, nigga. What it matter you give a nigga drugs? The blackmail angle. Investigators believe these drafts were part of a blackmail strategy. Man, if this nigga in here recording everything, don't you dare. You can't be that rich and that stupid. You knew that man was recording mine. You know it, did he? Blackmail, extortion, nigga. Come on, man, always told me, never let a nigga have nothing over you. Don't never owe a nigga nothing. And through my life, I found that to be true, man. You know them people in there recording, man, they gonna get you. Of course, Billy Gates people done said it's absolutely absurd and completely false. That's what they supposed to say. That's what you pay them for. They say it only proves the lengths Epstein would go to defame people who rejected him. Now, they say, Jeffrey Epstein was 007 up in the joint, you understand me? Secret squirrel in this moment. He wasn't just a predator, but a high-level intelligence asset. Yeah, say he was doing it for them folk mine. Was Epstein a spy? Now, proponents of this theory believe Epstein's Lolita Express. Go find the book Lolita. Well, a young girl and an old guy. I read it back in the 70s. Old book. Proponents of this theory believe Epstein's Lolita Express and Island were essentially elaborate honey traps designed to compromise world leaders, royalty, celebrities, and tech moguls. By installing sophisticated hidden cameras throughout his properties, a setup mirrored in the recent Sean Diddy Combs investigation, Epstein allegedly amassed a digital library mine of compromising materials. You know you being damn watch, nigga. Melinda French Gates recently commented that the details are heartbreaking and bring back painful memories of her marriage. Roll tape.
So the whole thing is, if you think that Jeffrey Epstein didn't record that shit, you crazy as a motherfucker. He did record it, and then when you take in consideration that he was active with the Mossad, he had an active relationship with the Chinese, he had an active relationship with the Russians. Jeffrey Epstein is a agent. He's a foreign provocateur.
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail.
Jeffrey Epstein was used by the Russian government. He was used by the Israeli government specifically and especially to chronicle behavior, the highest levels of entertainment and politics, to use that as leverage. Jeffrey Epstein is a spy. He's a spy. He's an agent. It's as simple as that.
Wow.
Jeffrey Epstein is a spy. He worked for the Russian government. He worked for the Israeli government. They used him to collect information on political figures and stars who couldn't control their sexual appetite. Then they used that information to blackmail and blackball people.
So he's purposely recording these people for that, just to
absolutely to
throw it in the vault.
Not to throw it in the vault, right? I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't have live feeds tapped into his camera system, right? Just in case something went wrong with the internal recordings at the house.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were live feeds beaming what was going on in these parties to the Israeli government, the intelligence service, the Mossad, to China and to Russia, to whoever was willing to pay him for that information, and then use that information to blackmail our elected leadership.
Would you go to the Diddy Boogaloo mine? Would you go to the Epstein party? Which one is your flavor? Okay. You heard the guy up front. He said he'd take the jet to Epstein's island. And then later on, go hang out with the diddler. But in the high-stakes world of billionaire blackmail, rumor has it that Diddy and Epstein treated their guest list like a game of supervillain chicken. The theory, neither mogul would ever set foot in the other's house because the first one to walk through the door instantly lost their leverage. It's a hell of a game you play when you narcissistic, huh? Whoever went first lost. That's like in negotiations. When something is said, go quiet. Whoever speaks first loses. Okay. But yeah, whoever went through the door first lost leverage, becoming just another face on a hidden camera instead of the one holding the remote. It was a Cold War freak-offs versus island retreats, where showing up meant surrendering your secrets to a rival's vault. Now, they say this is the ultimate no-win situation, but keep it a hundo, fam. Keep it a band. If you were a high roller back in the gap, the 2010s, let's say, and these two invites hit your inbox for the same Saturday night party, which boogaloo you going to? Which social suicide would you commit, fam? Option one, hanging with the diddler at the freak-offs. Expect 48 hours of high-octane chaos, enough baby oil to lubricate a naval fleet, and 100% chance your dance moves are being archived in a secret room in Malibu. Option B, hanging out at the Epstein Island Swarak. Look it up. You get a private jet flight to a Caribbean paradise filled with Nobel laureates and dark secrets where the guest book is basically a pre-written subpoena. So what's your next move? Do you risk it all for the bad boy lifestyle, take the flight to the island of no return, or stay home, lock the doors, and order a pizza like a sane person, man? I don't know, man. You know, ain't nothing for nothing. My old man always told me, you go out there, you know if you pulling your tallywhacker out, man, somebody got you on video this day and time.
You know who never went to Epstein Island? Diddy. And you know who never went to a Diddy party? Epstein. This is like Ronaldo and Messi 2011 El Clasico. They were seriously competing against each other. It shows you the true nature of a man. Even in the wrong competition, he's still going to compete. Do you know how crazy of a concept that is?
As industry heavyweights, why did P. Diddy and Epstein never attend each other's parties? First, although Diddy and Epstein were both enormously famous and shared many mutual connections, they were in reality two completely different brands, almost polar opposites, black and white. Epstein's private island symbolized an ultra-elite, closed world built for politicians and power brokers, while Diddy's white parties were about flashy, high-end commercial luxury designed for celebrities. Think Adidas versus Nike, two parallel lines that were never meant to cross. Second, it's very likely they were engaged in a form of toxic rivalry. It's similar to Ronaldo and Messi during the 2011 El Clasico. At that time, they were genuinely competing against each other, but that at least was healthy competition. In contrast, Diddy and Epstein would never bow to one another. Whoever showed up at the other's party would be seen as the loser. Ultimately, this reveals the true nature of men driven by extreme narcissism and an obsession with control. Even when the competition itself is misguided or outright wrong, nothing can stop them from playing the game. So who do you think was worse?
Now, they say people with a lot of money are perverts, man. His old head told me when I was a teenager. He said, remember this, the older you get with a woman, the more creative you have to be in the bedroom. Because that laying there missionary just humping up and down, after a while, that ain't going to work no more. The older you get, the freakier you get. Money brings out the true you. If you a perv before you had loot, Diddy and damn Epstein, then you're going to be the purveyor of that shit when you get looted up. Now, psychologists and criminal profilers suggest that for those at the apex of wealth and power, normal often becomes a victim of hedonic adaptation, where every luxury, from private jets to five-star dining, becomes a baseline reality. The brain's dopamine receptors require increasingly extreme stimuli to register pleasure. Yeah, this can lead to the God complex. You can't be touched. In America, we call it white privilege. Okay, we call it a God complex. But yeah, nigga, here it's just white privilege, particularly with money. That's why they like rousting their own people. It ain't no flex to pull a black in there, a nigga, and abuse them and this, that, and the third. They've been doing that for 400-500 years. They like doing their own because they was doing it before they ran up on us. However, many experts argue that wealth doesn't necessarily create these urges. It simply enables them. You know that. Look at when you get paid on payday, nigga. Anybody tell you shit? Especially after you pay rent. You get that check, you paid your bills, you got a little loot left in your pockets. But yeah, whether it's a byproduct of a bored brain or a pre-existing personality disorder, power acts as an accelerant that turns dark impulses into systemic exploitation. Rotate, nigga.
So listen, when it comes to that power and money influence, right? Once they have done everything that power and influence and money allows them to do, they start looking for other things. They're like adrenaline junkies. But in the world that they operate in, they have sex demons in them. But man, I mean, whenever you hear about a scandal, when it comes to a superstar or a person who's a major business owner, none of that shocks you at this point because we already know what comes along with that money and power. They start to look for the most diabolical shit they can do to control people and get off on. They some kink freaks.
Yeah, and people is pervs, man, when you get that kind of loot. But yeah, given the intense debate surrounding the January 2026 Epstein file and the viral rumors involving Jay-Z and Beyonce. So yeah, these people is real pervs. The great debate. Fact Fiction or fixer? We got 3 questions here that we want you to weigh in on. 1, we want you to put in the comments 1, 2, or 3. 1, the guilt by association test. Considering that Jay-Z's name appeared in the unverified FBI tip logs, not official flight manifests to Epstein's island, do you think the public is right to scrutinize his past friendships, or is this just a transitive property of guilt, where famous people are blamed simply for being in the same room as the elite? I don't know. Ask TD Jakes. Number 2, the 50 Cent factor. 50 Cent has a history of using documentaries and social media, trolling to expose his rivals, like his recent Diddy docuseries. Do you believe 50 Cent actually has dirt on Jay-Z? Or is he just capitalizing on the Epstein frenzy to settle an old industry score? With Jay-Z's Rock Nation producing the Super Bowl halftime show today, February 8th, 2026, why do you think he fled the country rumors went viral this week? Is it a coordinated effort to sabotage his biggest night? Or does the public truly believe he's avoiding the new DOJ documents? What side are you on? Is Jay-Z a victim of digital defamation, or is there smoke where there's fire? Let's hear your take on it. Put it in the comments. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for riding with us, mine. It's Rubber Buggy Baby Boomer Radio. Pray until something happens. God always provides. At pushgapradios.com, the power is in the name. Never average, never mediocre, online, on point, and on the freaking money. Devastating, titillating, definitely invigorating. Not like I'm insinuating that I think we're stimulating. Reason that we get good ratings because we don't be perpetrating. All we got to do is touch a microphone. It's Shaka 401 in the main event on the bangingest thing in Hamilton Park. PushGapRadios.com. Dallas, baby. We're out.
PushGapRadio.com. We finna take over this town like street sweepers.
That's gangsta.